Pittsburgh seems to have superior talent. What's that mean, Merlin?
I think it puts pressure on both lines, but certainly the most pressure will go on the defensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. If they don't have a great day, it may well open the gates on their secondary and linebackers and allow Bradshaw to swing the game in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So pressure on the Dallas line. They have to be great. Good may be good enough for the Steelers. Okay, let's see what the players themselves think about today's matchups.
And Rafferty, they alternate. They are very similar in their styles. And matter of fact, I had watched the film halfway through before I realized that it was two different guys playing.
LC strong points is being in his pass rush. He's not. He haven't shown me the ability to just overpower an offensive tackle. He's very quick, and he uses his quickness on his pass rush to get around the offensive blocker so he can get to the quarterback. And my main concern and job is right now is to neutralize L.C. Greenwood in this game and to give Rodgers the kind of time that he needs to set up and execute his plays.
Could have 5 good plays and get the game ball, the MVP, and the cars, wherever they give away. You know? And on the other hand, if there's 70 plays, you know, and I had 65 good ones, and he had those 5. So the thing I have to have is the consistency. I have to play well each play.
Webster's, you know, one of the top centers in the league, if not the top. You know, there's a lot of top guys, but he's right there, and you know, he's so quick. You know, he drops back in that pass protection, and he can pick you up and knock you off, and then go pick somebody else up. You know, he does a heck of a job, and I think he's going to give me the most problems on my pass rush. You know, picking me up. If I break free, he's going to be there to pick me up.
Inflation has hit pro football as well. I was in Los Angeles 1967. You could get in for $6. High price was $12. Back to more Super Bowls, this time 3 and 4. Number 3, most important Super Bowl of them all.
The year was 1969, January 12th, Super Bowl III. Joe Namath had told everyone within earshot that the AFL Jets would beat the awesome Baltimore Colts, NFL champions, and a team being called the greatest ever. Namath did all he could to make good his boast, completing all manner of passes for over 200 yards to set up 16 points, more than enough points to win, for lost in Joe's bluster were 2 other keys to victory. A brilliant performance by the New York defense shut out Don Shula's powerful offense that had scored over 400 points in the regular season for most of the game and intercepted 4 passes. The other key to the Jets' unbelievable victory was fullback Matt Snell, who gained 121 yards and scored the Jets' only touchdown in a 16-7 New York victory in Super Bowl III. The New York Jet team made Namath's prediction stand up and proved that the AFL's best could meet the NFL's best and win. The year was 1970. And on January 11th in Super Bowl IV, when Hank Stram's Kansas City Chiefs faced the Minnesota Vikings, the younger league put to rest all claims of NFL supremacy as the Chiefs became the 2nd straight AFL team to win the Super Bowl. While the Chief defense almost completely eliminated Joe Cap's high-scoring offense, the Kansas City attack outfoxed a group known as the Purple Gang, a defense that had allowed less than 10 points a game during the regular season. Mike Garrett's 5-yard touchdown run gave the Chiefs a 16-0 lead. And though the Vikings cut the lead by 7, Len Dawson's 46-yard touchdown pass to Otis Taylor squashed any hopes of a Viking comeback. The Chiefs' victory made the final AFL-NFL Super Bowl tally 2 games each and marked the end of the American Football League. But in Super Bowl IV, the Chiefs proved that the 2 leagues were equal when they became one.
While Super Bowls III and IV did not lack for drama or excitement, other games have been criticized as being somewhat lackluster affairs. But what else could they be? After all, even the most exciting of games would have a difficult time measuring up to all the hoopla.
Here's a little bit of nostalgia for you. This is the program from the very first Super Bowl game ever played. It was January 15th, 1967 at the Los Angeles Coliseum. And you know there were 30,000 empty seats that day? In fact, it wasn't even called the Super Bowl back then. It was the World Championship game, AFL versus NFL. Interestingly, I think a lot of football fans would remember the score of that game. Green Bay won it 35-10 over Kansas City. Now for a little trivia. What was the score of last year's Super Bowl game? Doesn't seem quite as easy, does it? Does it seem that the Super Bowl itself has become almost incidental to the spectacle? Just another football game, you say? Merely grab your gorilla suit and head south. Don't forget your hat. It's super. The NFL spends $100,000 on one party. That's a lot of bean dip, folks. You want horns? I'll give you horns. You got big horns, small horns, flugelhorns, and plastic horns. There are street horns and marching horns, and parades and cymbals. Cue the cymbals.
The game, it definitely is becoming more of a spectacle. The few days before, the parties, the celebrations, and so on, and the game is almost secondary in a lot of respects. And now there are so many people come from the 2 teams. The 2 competing teams bring 20, 25,000 spectators each, and that's what's really made the game more colorful. And I don't know where it all ends. The stadiums really are not going to be any bigger. The television ratings seem to grow a little bit each year, some years making a pretty good jump, but it's hard for me to say where it'll go from here.
There are many associated projects, many events, many promotions that are tied in with it, and it makes it very difficult under those circumstances to keep the game as the focal point, which we truly want it to be.
It's anticlimactic to those who aren't in it or participants, and the tension and the anxiety is tremendous to the competitors or the competitive teams and those who are interested in football. I think that the conservativeness of the game is based on the fact that most teams have gone into that game afraid to lose and not wanting to win.
If you were not a football person, which of course you are, would you go to the Super Bowl?
Well, you can't speak for anyone else in life, and I can't speak for something I'm not, but I doubt that I would go.
Let me read you a part of a story from the first Super Bowl program called A Day That Can Never Happen Again. The Los Angeles Coliseum, it says, seats 95,000 people. But 10 years from this historic day, an estimated 273,541 Americans will say, I was there. They'll say that about this Super Bowl game, too. The difference is they will be. For NBC Sports, I'm Barry Tompkins.
I'll never forget Super Bowl I out in Los Angeles. It wasn't a sellout. 2 networks, NBC and CBS, covered the same game. That's the last time it'll ever happen in television history. Could the upstart AFL play even with the mighty Green Bay Packers? For a half they did, and then the Packers took over. Again the next year the Packers dominated. We came here to Miami for Super Bowl III. The New York Jets, 20-point underdogs. There were rumblings, another one-sided game, and the Super Bowl format might be discarded. And then the historic upset by the Jets. The Super Bowl was made, history was made, and America accepted the American Football League and the Super Bowl from then on. It was maybe the single most important financial game ever played in this country.
The Super Bowl has been synonymous with Miami and greatness. In 3, it was the Jets. Number 5, that was when O'Brien kicked the field goal final seconds. 10 was the best, they say, Pittsburgh beating Dallas. How about number 13? That story coming up after these words from your local station.